This is Vanessa, Peyton's mom from Peyton's World. I just wanted to show you a recipe that my mom had shown me. It's called Kraut and weenies with mashed potatoes on top. It's a recipe handed down from Mary Pale, which is my great-grandmother. And she gave it to her daughter, Brenda Hughes, which is my grandmother, who gave it to my mama, Janita Rhodes, who gave it to me, Vanessa. And I will give it to my son someday. It's very cheap to make. You need 2 to 3 cans of 14.4 ounces of sauerkraut. Doesn't matter what brand. Kraut is Kraut. Then I like to get Oscar Mayer all beef hot dogs. You can get whatever hot dogs you like. My mom actually just uses those, the cheaper brand, the red hot dogs, whatever they are, and it still makes it just as good. Some Idaho potatoes. You know, you want to get some good potatoes. About 4 to 6 taters in there, and I put bay leaves in mine when I'm boiling them. It just gives it, I think, a better smell and better taste. And salt and pepper and real butter. That's all you need to make it. So let's get started. First things first, I got my cast iron pan here. I don't have any aluminum foil. I would normally line it with aluminum foil because it's easier to clean up. My mom did a little short video show you guys how to do that. She's done that for years. And but I just sprayed my cast iron pan down with any kind of cooking spray and chopped up my hot dogs into, you know, pretty small slices. And just kind of, you want it spread out all around the pan pretty good. Just as good as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then you open up your kraut, your sauerkraut, and drain all the water out. That is the most important part to listen to, is to drain every bit of the water out where it's just like this, dry. There should be no water dripping off of it at all. Sometimes I forget to drain my kraut when I'm trying to hurry and make it really quick, and my mom will call me and say, "Did you drain your kraut?" Well, that's what's wrong with it. So anyways, but I drained all my kraut and everything, got this all ready to go. So you can just put the kraut right on top of the hot dogs and spread it around as evenly as you can. And you can put more kraut. I really like kraut. Sometimes I'll use 3 cans, but probably need a bigger pan if you do that, just so to cook more evenly. This is one of my favorite meals. I just really love it. So after you get your kraut spread out pretty evenly, it doesn't have to be perfect, then you take your potatoes, and I did get 6 of them. This is about a medium-sized potato here, I would say, for me. So I did get 6 potatoes because I like to have some leftover mashed potatoes, because it just saves me time cooking, because this way that I do the mashed potatoes does take longer to do, but I think it does taste better if you have extra time. If you don't have extra time, you can just cube your potatoes and boil them. But and you can either peel them or leave the skins on. The skins are very, very good for you. Okay, so I'm just gonna go over here to the stove. I got my pot of water and my potatoes and my bay leaves. These are whole bay leaves. I've only got like 1.5 left, but I like to put in probably at least 3 for this many potatoes. Oh, well, I got about 2. Okay, and then you just set your potatoes in there whole like this. Okay. Now, this is very important for making them this way. You have to puncture the potatoes. My knife is let me get a better knife. You have to puncture the potatoes several times, and sometimes it's better to use a fork, actually. If you don't do this, they might explode. Like, I don't know if you've ever heard in the microwave, sometimes they will explode if you don't put holes in them. Or even if you cook them on a fire, they'll explode. But just, you don't have to, like, stab your potatoes to death. Just poke some little holes in them. Make sure every potato has holes in it. And it's probably better to do this before you put them in the water, but I just always do it while they're in the water for some reason. I don't know why. Okay. And you can flip them and make sure, just to be extra safe, you can poke some holes on the back sides if you want to. I don't know why I've always done it this way instead of putting the holes in it beforehand. But anyway, so they're done. Now, if your potatoes were too heavy and your water is just a little bit too much, you can just dump that out. I'm doing now. Okay. Just want to set that on high and let it boil. While those potatoes are boiling, I just want to tell you a few things about potatoes. First of all, if you bake potatoes with the skin on, it maintains their potassium. But if you boil them with the skin off, you lose 75% of the potassium that's in them, and you lose a lot of good minerals that's in the skin. There's a mineral in the skin of the potato that regulates your blood pressure. Also, there's magnesium and iron in potatoes. And if you can afford to get real butter instead of margarine, it's very, very much better for you than getting just margarine, which is just basically, I think, vegetable oil or whatever kind of oil they put in it. But plus it's processed, it's just really not good. But real butter is very expensive, so I can't even afford to get it, but just every once in a while. But I really do enjoy it. It does have a lot better of a taste to it too. And the kraut that you buy, it doesn't have to be brand name sauerkraut or anything like that. You can get cheap kraut. Kraut is kraut. It tastes the same. It's very good for you. If you can, I would look at the back and just check sodium levels, because some of the more expensive brands actually have more sodium in them. So I just go with a cheaper brand that I trust, that I'm not going to say the name of because I don't have a sponsorship by them or anything. But those potatoes are boiling, so here's the next step. Okay, so I've drained the water out of my potatoes and took out the bay leaves. I put in about 2 tablespoons of butter, and a friend of mine actually recommended that I try this a little different than I'm used to, and drain my potatoes and all the water out and taken the bay leaves out of it. Of course, you don't want to eat those. I left the skins in, added about 2 tablespoons of butter, and a friend of mine recommended that I put chicken broth in this and try it that way. So you just mash your potatoes up, or you can use a food processor. I like to mash them because I do like them to be pretty chunky. I don't like them so smooth, but a lot of people do like them really creamy. If you want them super creamy and smooth instead of any lumps in them at all, a food processor would probably be the best route for that. So this is still a very soft texture. I didn't add salt because I did put the chicken broth in there, so chicken broth has a lot of salt in it anyways, unless you get, you know, low sodium, but all I had was just like regular chicken broth. After I get them really mashed, I will add about 2 teaspoons of pepper. That's just as much as you want to put in it. I would mix it in really well and then taste it, because you don't want too much pepper in your mashed potatoes. And while you're mashing up your potatoes, you could go ahead and be preheating your oven to 400 degrees. Potatoes mashed to the consistency that you want. And you're just going to put them right directly on top of the sauerkraut. I just use my potato masher. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you want to spread it as evenly, you know, as you can. You don't want a great big lump of mashed potatoes and nothing else. So try to make it as evenly as you can. I always make extra potatoes so I can have potato cakes in the morning. Or if I'm going to use it in another recipe. Anytime I'm making potatoes, I like to make a lot up, because we do eat them so much. My oven is preheating at this time to 450. Obviously, be careful. These mashed potatoes are very hot. You could let them cool off if you wanted to, since you're going to be baking them. I was just trying to hurry. And then when you get done, it should look something like this. And you're going to put it in the oven, 400 degrees, for about 45 minutes to an hour. After it gets done, it looks something like this. Be very careful when you pull it out of the oven, and make sure to turn your oven off. You can serve it with cornbread or just like this. It makes a great meal. Thank you. Bye.